For this lesson, go into your exercise folder and open up an image that begins with 788, but ends with _3. So we have our lady extracted from the background. We can shift on it like this and see the before and the after. So we've changed the mood. She's in a hallway now. She's not doing a studio shot. Next, this image was designed in starkness for not being really dramatic in color. Her lips are not that well colored. Her eyes, everything is just very, very, very easy to see, easy to look at. I want to add some color to her lips and to her eyes and slightly whiten the area, the whites of her eyes. Now again, I do have my selections made over here. These are very easy to make. These are the ones that are more difficult. But if you don't know, if you've never done one of these before, let me just show you one more thing. If I go back to RGB, and let's say I pick up my elliptical marquee, something, and I come over here, and that's a selection that I want to use over and over again. How did I, once I selected them, make them channels over here? Well, you just click this button right here. Instant selection. That's how I did that. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. Let me get rid of this here, and let's get started. Let's start with her lips. So let's come over here and Control, that's Command on a Mac, Control in Windows, click it in the Channels panel. There's the selection. Now let's come over here, and let's go down to our adjustments. Here's what I'm thinking. What I want to do is really enhance the color that's already there. I don't want to add red. Her lips are red. I just want them to be a bit redder. So I'm thinking vibrance right there. Now don't forget what happens when you make an adjustment layer and you have a selection. The selection determines the area that can be changed. And that's why you can see it right here. Now we've got our properties open over here. If they're not, just double click right on this button right over here. Now vibrance, well, we can make the color more vibrant. And we can even increase the saturation just a little bit. Now the trick here sometimes is knowing the before and the after. Because sometimes you look at that and go, oh, it doesn't look that different. So if I click here, I can see what I've done. Again, that's very subtle. We can make that more. And the beauty of this is what I love, is you come back tomorrow and go, man, what was I thinking? That's way too red. Just go right back to this adjustment layer and change it. So we've got that going on for us. Make that a little bit less. I'm not one for extremes, I want to tell you. But I do like that. A little bit of color. What's next? Well, let's close this out, collapse it. Let's work on the whites of her eyes. So I'm going to go into whites right here and Control-click. And these are just selections, okay? Let's go down here on adjustments, and this time, let's actually go into hue and saturation. We'll try different adjustments here. Now, I want to make sure that there is no color in those whites. So I'm going to take saturation all the way down. And again, if you think that changed or don't think it changed, you can always turn it on or off. And you can see it's very slight, but there was some color in the whites of her eyes. And now we can use lightness right here. And very lightly, now we can go this way with it. It's like she's got a light bulb inside of her head and it's glowing out. It's not what we want, obviously. And you can see that we've very subtly lightened up her eyes. That's about all I want to do. How about the color of her pupils? Let's go ahead and get out of here for a second. I've got that covered right here. Control or Command click, Control in Windows, Command on a Mac. And there you go. Let's come over here again. Let's go down to our adjustments again. I love these adjustments. And let's go into, on this one, I'll tell you what, Photo Filter. Let's try that one. Now in Photo Filter, we have warming or cooling filters, or we also have colors. So we go into, say, blue. I want blue eyes. And we can change the density right here. So if we move that up, we can make her eyes more blue. Now again, it's up to you how blue you want her eyes to be. And if we come down here, we can turn off luminosity. But in our case, there's a lot of highlights in those areas. That's not going to work. You want to leave that on for this particular thing that we're doing to her eyes. So we've got her eyes looking bluer, the whites looking whiter, and her lips looking redder. all through the courtesy of Photoshop, obviously, adjustment layers, and the right selection. Now, if you want to save this one and move on, you can. If not, I've got one for you in the next lesson.